Maya Ellison did not scream when she found her fiancé fastening another woman into her wedding dress. She did not ask why Claire Donovan was standing beneath her mother's veil, or why Evan's hands seemed so familiar with the pearl buttons running down her back. She looked once at Claire's reflection, then at Evan. "Take it off," Maya said. Claire began to cry. Evan crossed the room and closed the distance between himself and the woman he claimed he no longer loved. "You're frightening her." Maya almost laughed. The dress belonged to her. The room belonged to her. The vineyard outside had belonged to her family for 3 generations. Yet somehow, she was the threat. By the time the bridesmaids entered, Evan had already shaped the scene. Claire was shaking. Maya was cold. The former girlfriend stood in a stolen gown, while the actual bride was asked to step outside and reconsider her behavior. Maya did. In the hallway, she opened her hand. A pearl button lay in her palm. It had snapped from the dress and rolled to her shoe before anyone noticed. Her mother had sewn those buttons herself. From inside the room, Maya heard Evan say, "She's been under pressure. I warned you this might happen." That sentence changed something. Not because it was cruel, because he had prepared it. Maya stopped listening to the apologies everyone expected from her and began listening to the details. Evan thought she would miss the locked business folder, the room reserved for 10 on the wedding morning, the payment sent to Claire's failed company, the resort plans hidden beneath vendor contracts. Evan believed Maya's silence meant he had broken her. He did not understand that she had stopped trying to save the wedding. Now she was deciding what else he would not be allowed to take. 6 days earlier, Silver Creek Vineyard had still felt like the safest place in Maya's life. Morning light crossed the vines while workers carried glassware toward the stone terrace. A florist argued with a driver about missing roses. Maya moved through the confusion with a radio in one hand and a clipboard under her arm. "Reserve cases go in the west cellar," she told a server. "The north room runs warmer afternoon." To the florist, she said, "Use the garden roses for the entry arch. My mother planted them beside the house. They'll hold." No one at Silver Creek needed Maya to raise her voice. She knew which floorboards shifted in rain, which irrigation valves stuck in August, and which employees needed to leave early for their children. The vineyard was not merely her business. It was the last complete thing her mother had left her. From the terrace, Maya could see the small white house at the edge of the vines. Her mother had lived there until she died, refusing every suggestion that she move somewhere easier. "You don't abandon a place just because loving it becomes work," she had said. At 11, Lauren Price arrived with garment bags and iced coffees. "5 days after today," Lauren said, "and you become someone else's problem." Maya smiled. "That is the most romantic thing anyone has said all week." Her radio crackled. "Maya, Evan's at the front drive," Rosa Delgado said. "He has a guest." Evan's black SUV stopped near the main house. He stepped out, then opened the passenger door. The woman who emerged moved carefully, one hand braced against the frame. Her left leg stiffened before she placed weight on it. Maya recognized her before Evan said the name. "Claire." Lauren's expression changed. Claire Donovan had existed in Maya's relationship like an old scar rarely discussed, never completely gone. She had been Evan's first serious love. During college, she had driven through a storm to bring him presentation materials he had forgotten. Her car left the road. The injury ended her career as a dancer. Evan stayed through surgeries and physical therapy. Then, eventually, he left. Now Claire stood in Maya's driveway with 2 suitcases. "I was going to call," Evan said. "You drove here instead." It happened fast. Claire offered a careful smile. "I told him a hotel would be fine." Her business in Charleston closed, Evan said. "The landlord changed the locks this morning, and she has an appointment with a specialist nearby." Maya looked at the luggage. "How long?" "2 nights. Maybe 3. Behind them, Rosa paused near the open trunk. A leather portfolio rested on a suitcase. Its flap had shifted, revealing architectural drawings and a printed title, "Silver Creek Resort Expansion." Rosa met Maya's eyes, then looked away. Evan touched Maya's elbow. I can't leave her with nowhere to go. The guest cottage had been prepared for the bridesmaids. Maya knew what agreeing would cost before she answered. We'll move them to the hotel. Relief crossed Evan's face. I knew you'd understand. The words should have sounded grateful. Instead, they confirmed he had expected her to surrender before he arrived. That afternoon, Maya found Evan in the planning office using their shared tablet. Vendor agreements covered the desk. I need your signature on these, he said. Lighting insurance, rental damage waiver, routine changes. Can Nora review them? She already did. Maya skimmed the first page and signed. The wedding planner appeared at the door. Do you still want the library reserved at 10 Saturday morning? Maya looked up.
10 a.m.
The wedding day. For the business meeting. Evan answered first. A short investor greeting. We have investors coming on our wedding morning? They'll already be nearby. 20 minutes. You won't notice. After the planner left, Maya turned the tablet face down. Why didn't I know? Because it isn't important enough to add to your list. Across the courtyard, Claire stood beside the guest cottage, while Rosa carried in her suitcase. The leather portfolio was gone. Evan followed Maya's gaze. She has lost almost everything, he said. I'm not asking you to compete with her. I didn't say I was. No, but I know that look. What look? The one where you decide something is wrong before anyone has done anything. He softened his voice. I need you to trust me this week. Trust. Maya had always believed trust meant refusing to punish someone for wounds they had not caused. Her mother had believed something else. 3 months before she died, while folding linens in the old house, she had taken Maya's hand. Do not use silence to prove you are an easy woman to love. Maya had dismissed it as advice shaped by a failed marriage. That evening, Evan found Lauren near the barrel room. Maya was close enough to hear but hidden behind the half-open door. She's under more pressure than she admits, he said.
I don't think that's true at all.
Claire
She
being
hasn't
here
said
may bring up
anything.
some insecurity.
Just look at
Lauren
her.
frowned.
It's clear she's not
Maya
handling
hasn't
this
said
well.
anything. I know. If she reacts, help her keep perspective. I don't want one difficult week to destroy what we've built. Maya held the seating charts against her chest. She had not accused him. She had not raised her voice. She had not asked Claire to leave. But before the first disagreement had happened, Evan had already chosen the explanation everyone would receive. The jealous bride, the wounded former lover, and the patient man trapped between them. By 8 the next morning, the bridesmaids' luggage had been moved out of the guest cottage. Lauren stood beside a hotel shuttle while attendants loaded garment bags into the back. I thought Claire was taking an upstairs room, she said. So did I, Maya replied. Evan came down the steps carrying a folded blanket. The upstairs bath isn't safe for her leg. The cottage was prepared for the bridal party, and the hotel has empty suites. Lauren forced a smile. We'll manage. Evan thanked her for being flexible. He did not thank Maya. Claire appeared in the doorway wearing one of Silver Creek's cream robes, holding cinnamon coffee Evan had made for her. He once told Maya he hated the smell. I'm sorry everyone had to move, Claire said. Evan answered for Maya. No one minds. At 11:30, Maya sat in the tasting room beside 3 empty chairs. The chef had prepared the wedding menu, including the lemon cake her mother used to bake each spring. 20 minutes later, Evan texted. Taking Claire to the orthopedic clinic. Start without me. Maya called once. He declined. She tasted every dish alone while the chair beside her remained empty. By the time Evan returned, the sauces had cooled. Claire leaned on his arm. The doctor squeezed her in. Evan said, You could have told me before I sat here waiting. I did tell you. After you were already gone. He glanced toward the kitchen, where the chef and 2 servers could hear them. Claire could barely walk. I thought a medical problem mattered more than a tasting. That isn't what I said. But it is what you're making this about. Claire stepped back. I can leave. Evan turned to her immediately. You're not going anywhere. The speed of his answer did more damage than the words. Then he faced Maya. You want every detail controlled. Sometimes people have to come before schedules. Maya felt the story settle around her. Evan compassionate, Claire injured, Maya angry over cold food. The lemon cake needs less sugar, she told the chef, and walked out. On the terrace, two servers stopped whispering when she passed. One glanced toward the clinic drive, then lowered her eyes. They had seen enough to understand. They simply did not want to be involved. That afternoon, the wedding planner brought a revised floral board. The white garden roses Maya had chosen were gone. Claire reacts badly to them, she explained. Evan approved peonies, Claire's favorite flowers. A new song had also been added to the rehearsal program. Paper Houses, the song Evan and Claire once called theirs. Who requested it? Maya asked. Claire suggested it. Evan said it would mean a great deal to her. It means a great deal to both of them. The planner closed the folder. Evan asked me to route sensitive changes through him. He thinks you have too much on your plate. Do you agree? The woman looked away. I want the weekend to go smoothly. Not a denial. A request for Maya to become easier. Before Maya could respond, Nora Kim stopped her outside the bookkeeping office. I need your approval on a consulting payment. The screen showed Donovan Hospitality Design $18,500. The payment had already been released. Who authorized it? Evan. He marked it as preliminary resort planning. Claire had arrived yesterday saying she had nowhere to stay. By morning, Silver Creek had paid her more than some employees earned in months. Freeze any additional payments. Maya said. Should I tell Evan? Not yet. At dusk, laughter drew Maya toward the library. Evan and Claire sat close together on the floor before a box of old photographs. One showed them younger, wrapped in the same blanket. Another showed Claire asleep against Evan's shoulder. His hand rested on her knee. Neither noticed Maya at first. When Evan finally looked up, he did not move his hand. Claire did. We found an old storage box, he said. I can see that. Claire gathered the pictures. I should rest. Evan watched her leave. Maya held up the payment record. You paid her $18,500. She's consulting on the expansion. What expansion? The one we discussed. We discussed 4 guest rooms. Not hiring your former girlfriend without telling me. She has experience we need. You forgot to mention she was working for us? His expression hardened. This is exactly what I feared. What did you fear? That you would make every decision involving Claire personal. Maya looked at the photograph still in his hand. You made it personal before she arrived. Evan stood. I'm helping someone whose life changed because of me. You keep asking what this costs you. Have you asked what it feels like for me to carry that? Maya had asked for years. She had listened whenever the accident returned in his sleep and silences. But he did not want understanding. He wanted permission. The shared tablet chimed. Investor documents due for review Friday, 6 p.m. Evan cleared the alert before Maya could reach it. Then he smiled. Let's not ruin the week, he said. The bridal suite smelled of steamed silk and lavender spray. 2 days remained before the wedding. Maya had asked for 1 quiet hour to check the final fitting, but at 3:15, a cellar attendant called to report that the reserve shipment had arrived with the wrong labels. Evan was nowhere near the office. Claire had taken him to look at lighting samples. Maya spent 40 minutes correcting the inventory. When she returned, the bridal suite door was almost closed. Lauren's phone stood on a tripod near the mirror, recording the room for a behind-the-scenes wedding video. The red light blinked. Maya pushed the door open. Claire stood before the mirror in the wedding dress. The old lace from Maya's mother's gown curved across her shoulders. The skirt fell cleanly over Claire's hips, as though it had been altered for her. Evan stood behind her. His fingers worked the pearl buttons one by one. He saw Maya in the mirror before Claire did. He did not step back. For a moment, his hands remained at Claire's waist, and the look on his face was too soft to be mistaken for pity. Claire followed his gaze. Maya, take it off. Claire reached for the veil. I can explain. Take off my dress. Evan moved between them. Lower your voice. Maya looked past him at the lace her mother had preserved by hand. Why is she wearing it? Claire swallowed. I said I had never tried one on. And he brought you mine? It wasn't like that, Evan said. She was talking about everything she lost after the accident. Claire touched the bodice. Before it happened, I used to think, do not finish that sentence in my mother's dress. Claire's mouth trembled. Evan's attention shifted to her immediately. You don't have to defend yourself. Maya stared at him. You fastened it for her. She couldn't reach the buttons. There are 38 buttons. That is not the point. No, Maya said. It is exactly the point. Footsteps approached. Lauren entered with 2 bridesmaids carrying jewelry boxes. She stopped. Behind her, Tessa whispered, "Oh my God." No one moved. Claire covered her face. Evan wrapped an arm around her shoulders and turned toward the others. This was a mistake, he said. Maya came in angry, and now Claire feels attacked. Lauren looked from the dress to Maya. Why is she wearing that? Because she needed one harmless moment, Evan said. Maya is treating it like betrayal. It is betrayal, Maya said. Claire shook her head. I only wanted to know what it felt like. Evan said it might help me let go. Evan glanced at her. A small delay. Then he said, you asked. I said no one would be hurt if we were careful. The explanations did not match. Lauren noticed. Maya saw it in the way her eyes narrowed. But Lauren stepped toward Maya, not Evan. Come outside with me. This is my room. I know. Just for a minute. I am not the one wearing someone else's wedding dress. Claire began crying harder. Evan guided her toward the dressing screen. Maya, stop, he said. You are humiliating her. Maya almost laughed. The room, the dress, the veil, the man beside Claire, every part of the scene belonged to Maya, yet she had become the person causing harm. Claire caught the skirt on a stool. One pearl button snapped free and skipped across the floor. Rosa appeared in the doorway with fresh linens. Her eyes took in Claire, Evan, and Maya. The button rolled to Rosa's shoe. She bent and closed her hand around it. No one else noticed. Lauren touched Maya's arm. Please. Hallway. Maya let herself be led out because 4 people were looking at her as if one more sentence might destroy the day. The door closed behind her. Through the wood, Evan's voice remained clear. She has been under pressure. I warned everyone this might happen. Maya turned to Lauren. He warned you before Claire ever put on the dress. Lauren exhaled. He said you were struggling. I was not struggling until he brought his ex here and handed her my life piece by piece. Tessa looked down at the jewelry box. Lauren lowered her voice. Claire should not have worn it. But she is upset. If she leaves like this and drives, what if something happens? The same accident. The same guilt. The same leash. Evan opened the door. Claire wants to go. Then let her. His expression changed. If she gets behind the wheel in this state and crashes, will you be able to live with that? Maya stared at him. He had taken the worst thing that happened to Claire and placed its future repetition in Maya's hands. What do you want me to do? Tell her you overreacted. Lauren flinched. Evan. No. She frightened Claire over a dress she will still wear in 2 days. Maya looked at her friends. Tessa's eyes were wet. Lauren looked ashamed. Neither told him to apologize. We still have rehearsal tonight, Lauren said softly. Just end this before it gets worse. Maya went back inside. Claire had changed into a robe. The wedding dress lay across the chaise, one pearl missing. Evan stood beside her. Maya fest Claire. I am sorry I reacted so strongly. The words scraped on the way out. Claire wiped her cheeks. I accept your apology. Evan put a hand on Claire's back. Thank you for being gracious. No one asked him to apologize. Later, when Maya returned alone, the dress and garment bag were gone. On the tripod, Lauren's phone had stopped recording, but the file remained. In the service corridor, Rosa opened her palm and looked at the pearl button no one had thought important enough to notice. At 4:20 that afternoon, Nora Kim closed the bookkeeping office door behind Maya. The rehearsal dinner would begin in less than 3 hours. Outside, staff were polishing glasses and testing the terrace lights. Inside, Nora placed 3 printed transactions on the desk. The consulting payment was not the only transfer, she said. Maya looked down. The $18,500 paid to Claire's company had been split across 2 internal codes. One was marked Design Services. The other was listed as Debt Restructuring. Whose debt? That is what I was trying to find out. Nora turned her monitor toward Maya. The second payment had gone directly to a lender in Charleston. The reference number matched a judgment filed against Donovan Hospitality Design. Silver Creek had not hired Claire. Silver Creek had started paying off her failed business. Did Evan have authority to do this? Under the temporary operations access you gave him last winter, he can approve vendor expenses below $25,000. Maya remembered the form. She had signed it during harvest season while her mother's house was being repaired and 3 weddings were scheduled in one weekend. Temporary had quietly become normal. Lock the vendor code, Maya said. No more payments without my approval. Nora hesitated. He may notice. I need him to. A knock sounded before Nora could answer. One of the event assistants entered with a stack of rehearsal folders. These were left in the library. Mr. Cole said they needed to be at every place setting. The assistant put them down and left. Maya picked up the top folder. The first pages were ordinary. Dinner schedule. Emergency contacts. Speeches. Transportation. Halfway through, one sheet had been inserted upside down. Dan, Silver Creek Operating Partnership. Maya turned it over. The page did not contain signatures, but the terms were clear enough. 10-year operating period. Collateral secured by vineyard property and residential structures. Appointment of creative director subject to closing. Founding owner retained for ceremonial and brand-facing responsibilities. Maya read the last line twice. Ceremonial. Not managing owner. Not chief operator. A face at the entrance while someone else controlled the doors. Nora came around the desk. This is not a vendor document. No. At the bottom, a footer identified the file as Appendix C. Pages 1, 2, and the signature page were missing. Maya checked the other rehearsal folders. None contained the same sheet. It had not been distributed by mistake. Someone had removed most of the agreement and missed one page. Nora lowered her voice. The investor review is due at 6 tonight. And the meeting Saturday? 10 in the morning. The calendar invitation calls it final execution. Maya felt the clock become real. The wedding ceremony began at 5. By the time guests arrived, the agreement could already be binding. She photographed the page and returned it to the folder exactly where she had found it. Then she went to the library. Claire stood at the long table arranging architectural samples. The portfolio Rosa had seen in her luggage lay open beside her. Maya closed the door. How long have you been working on the Silver Creek expansion? Claire did not pretend not to understand. A few months. Evan told me you arrived with nowhere to go. My company failed. That does not mean I stopped working. Did he tell you I approved a 10-year management transfer? Claire's expression tightened. He said you wanted to step back after the wedding. I have never said that. He said you were tired of operations. I worked this morning before breakfast. Claire looked toward the windows. Maybe you changed your mind when I arrived. There it was again. Not evidence. A story that made Maya's objection emotional. Have you ever seen my approval? Evan said. That was not my question. Claire folded her arms. He told me the two of you had been discussing this for months. Have you seen my signature? A pause. No. Maya took out her phone and showed her the photographed page. Claire's eyes moved across the terms. When she reached ceremonial and brand-facing responsibilities, something shifted in her face. That wording was not in the version I saw. What version did you see? A proposal. Nothing final. Who was supposed to become creative director? Claire did not answer. She did not need to. Maya returned to the planning office and opened the shared tablets document history. Several files had been renamed as vendor addenda. One contained a scanned image labeled M. Ellison, signature, final, The file had been created at 11:47 p.m. on the night Claire arrived. The device record showed Evan's account. Maya stared at the timestamp, then exported the history to a private drive. That day, she no longer wondered whether she was overreacting. She wondered how many pages had already been signed with a name that was hers and a decision that was not. By 7:30, the terrace at Silver Creek had been transformed by candlelight. Strings of bulbs crossed above the long tables. Wine glasses caught the last gold of evening while servers carried plates through the open doors. Maya entered from the service hall in a dark green dress Lauren had chosen months earlier. Her place at the center of the head table was occupied. Claire sat there with one leg extended and a cushion behind her back. Evan leaned beside her, adjusting the chair as if her comfort were the most urgent detail in the room. Maya stopped 3 steps away. Lauren saw her first. Claire's leg started swelling, she said quickly. Evan straightened. The center chair has better support. That is my seat. It is a chair, Maya. The engraved crystal at Claire's place read Bride. A server noticed at the same moment Maya did. His face tightened. Evan lifted the glass, exchanged it with the plain one at the next place, and returned to Claire. There, he said. Problem solved. No one laughed. That made it worse. Maya sat beside Claire, close enough to smell the lavender spray used in the bridal suite. Across the table, 2 employees avoided looking at her. They had seen Evan carry Claire's plate from the kitchen and taste her wine before handing it over. Every small act had the intimacy of habit. The first course passed without incident. Then the musicians began paper houses. Maya's fork paused. Claire looked toward the stage. Evan did too. For several seconds, they seemed to forget the table around them. Lauren reached for Maya's wrist beneath the linen. Not tonight, she whispered. Maya pulled her hand away. When the song ended, Evan rose with his champagne glass. A folded page rested beside his plate. He thanked the staff, the wedding party, and the investors who had traveled early. Then his attention moved to Claire. Some people meet you after the hard years, he said. Others know you before you become someone worth believing in. Claire lowered her eyes. When I had no money, no career, and no reason to think I would build anything lasting. Claire believed for both of us. She sacrificed more than most people in this room will ever know. The guests followed his gaze. Maya could feel them arranging the story in their minds. Claire as the great lost love. Evan as the man carrying an old debt. Maya as the woman who inherited the place where his success became visible. She helped make me the man standing here, Evan said. Applause moved across the terrace. Maya remained seated. Evan finally looked at her. And Maya gave me a place to build the future. A place. Not partnership. Not love. A vineyard. The applause returned, shorter this time. Evan raised his glass toward Claire. To the people who remember us before the world does. Then he turned to Maya. You should say something. The request landed softly, but everyone heard it. About what? About Claire. She came a long way to be here. Claire shifted in the bride's chair. Evan, you don't have to. I think it matters. He was asking Maya to bless the replacement. Around the table, Lauren's expression begged her to cooperate. The wedding planner stared at the candles. Evan's mother lifted her glass and waited. Maya stood. She looked at Claire, then at the people who had seen everything and still wanted the evening to proceed without discomfort. To everyone finding the place where they truly belong, she said. She drank. For half a second, nothing moved. Then the guests followed. Evan's smile remained, but his hand tightened around the stem. 20 minutes later, Maya stepped into the library. Investor packets rested on the desk, prepared for the morning meeting. She opened the top copy. Claire Donovan, Creative Director. Evan Cole, Managing Partner. Maya Ellison, Ceremonial Founder and Brand Representative. Limited operational involvement after closing. She read the final line twice. The humiliation at dinner had not been an accident. It was the social version of the document in her hands. Claire, in the center seat. Evan speaking for Silver Creek. Maya present for the image. A voice sounded behind her. I told him that title was insulting. Claire stood in the doorway. Maya closed the packet. But you stayed in the chair. My leg hurt. And the toast? I did not ask for it. You did not stop it. Claire looked toward the terrace. He said the two of you had agreed on the new structure. He says many things when only one woman is in the room. Claire did not answer with Evan's explanation. Outside, Lauren called Maya's name. When Maya returned, the staff had moved her chair farther from Evan to create space for Claire's injured leg. Everyone noticed. No one corrected it. The wedding planner handed Maya the updated schedule. At the bottom, beneath hair, makeup, and photographs, one new line appeared. 10 a.m. Final execution meeting. Evan had placed the transfer of Silver Creek inside the wedding day as if it were another ceremony. Maya folded the schedule and slipped it into her bag. Across the table, Evan was laughing at something Claire had whispered. This time, Maya did not look away first. The rehearsal dinner ended at 11:15, but Silver Creek did not go quiet. Rain tapped against the old office windows. Maya stood beside Nora as Rosa closed the door and placed a brass key on the desk. Your mother kept copies in the cellar archive, Rosa said. Evan moved most records upstairs, but not everything. The archive sat beneath the original tasting room. Maya had not opened the cabinets since her mother died. Nora found the lender file first. Inside were printed drafts, property maps, and an appraisal stamped 3 weeks earlier. Maya spread the pages across a work table. Silver Creek Vineyard, main residence, guest cottages, production cellar, the small white house at the eastern vines, her mother's house. A red line crossed directly through it. Demolition Phase 1. Maya touched the page with 2 fingers. Nora kept reading. The loan uses all residential structures as collateral. If the project misses the first 2 repayment milestones, the lender can force a sale. Of the vineyard? Of everything listed here. Maya turned to the operating agreement. 10 years. Evan would control hiring, contracts, financing, and development. Claire would serve as creative director. Maya would retain her title and appear in promotional materials, but any objection she made could be overruled. There were 3 voting seats. Evan had assigned 2 to himself and the investor. Maya's name remained because Silver Creek needed her family history. Her power disappeared by page 7. Nora opened the metadata report from the shared tablet. The signature image was inserted at 11:50. The night Claire arrived. Evan's account accessed the file, but the original draft came from an outside address. Whose? Nora turned the screen. Claire Donovan. Maya read the email chain. Claire had sent design proposals, financing notes, and a list of buildings she believed could become luxury suites. Evan replied with estimates and assurances that Maya wanted to reduce her role after the wedding. One message had been sent 6 weeks earlier. She's tired of running the place. Once we're married, she'll be relieved to let us handle it. 6 weeks earlier, Maya had spent 3 nights sleeping in the office because frost threatened the vines. He had called it devotion to her face. To Claire, he called it exhaustion. Nora found a second thread. In that one, Evan told Maya the expansion was only a future possibility. He wrote that no major decision would happen without her approval, and that Claire's company would not be involved. 2 stories. Same week. Samamun. At midnight, Maya found Claire alone in the conservatory, barefoot, holding an ice pack against her knee. You knew about the demolition, Maya said. Claire looked up. What demolition? Maya placed the property map on the table. Claire studied the red line across the white house. That was supposed to be an unused cottage. My mother lived there. Evan said it had been empty for years. He knows exactly what it is. Claire's certainty weakened, but not enough. He said you wanted a hotel. He told me it was a 4-room expansion. He said you hated operations. I manage every harvest, wedding, and payroll cycle. He said you only stayed involved because you didn't trust him. Maya sat across from her. Did he tell you our marriage was over? Claire's silence answered first. He said the wedding had become a business decision, Claire replied. The investors needed stability. He said you both understood. He told me this morning that he was protecting our future. Claire pressed the ice pack against her knee. Maybe he was protecting the deal from you changing your mind. Have you ever heard me agree? He showed me documents. Did you watch me sign them? Claire looked toward the rain-dark glass. No. Maya slid the metadata report across the table. The signature was inserted from Evan's account. Claire read the date. That was the night I arrived. Yes. He told me you signed weeks earlier. Maya did not soften the next question. Why did you believe him? Claire's jaw tightened. Because he said you had everything I lost. There it was. Not proof. Permission. Claire had accepted the version of Maya that made taking from her feel fair. You wore my dress because he told you the marriage was empty, Maya said. Claire's eyes lifted. I wore it because I wanted to know if he still looked at me the same way. And did he? Claire did not answer. Maya gathered the pages. If you stay in that meeting tomorrow, you are not walking into a future he chose with you. You are walking into a transfer he built with my name. He would not forge your approval. He already did. Evan carries guilt. He makes bad decisions when he thinks he owes someone, but he would not. Use my land to pay your debt? Claire flinched. Maya saw that Evan had not told her about the Charleston payment. He paid your lender from Silver Creek, Maya said. $18,500. I thought that came from his development account. It came from mine. Claire looked down at the documents as if they had changed weight. Back in the archive, Nora handed Maya the construction schedule. Phase 1 demolition would begin Monday morning, 48 hours after the wedding. The White House had already been marked for utilities shutoff. Maya wrote to Thomas Reed, the attorney who had handled her mother's estate. I need to know what he can take by 10 tomorrow morning. She attached the agreement, metadata, payment records, and demolition map. Then she removed her engagement ring and placed it beside the keyboard. Not because she had decided what to do with Evan. Because she had decided what she would not let him do to Silver Creek. At 6:41 the next morning, Maya's access to Silver Creek disappeared. Her phone rejected the scheduling app first, then payroll, then the property server. She entered her password twice before a red message appeared. Account temporarily suspended by administrator. Maya walked into the office and found Evan at her desk. He wore the charcoal suit selected for the signing meeting. The wedding suit hung untouched behind him. You locked me out. I secured the system. From the owner? From anyone making emotional decisions before a major closing. He turned the monitor toward her. An email had already gone to the investors, outside counsel, and senior staff. Maya has experienced escalating distress related to a personal matter involving our design consultant. Until the situation stabilizes, operational communications should be directed through me. He had turned betrayal into a management notice. You sent this before speaking to me. I spoke to you all week. You refused to separate Claire from the business. The business is paying her debt. The business is investing in a project. With my signature, a 2-page acknowledgement waited in the printer tray. Evan slid it across the desk. It stated that Maya had reviewed the financing package, approved the temporary management structure, and authorized Evan to complete the 10 o'clock meeting. At the bottom, a deadline appeared in bold. Return by 8:30 a.m. You expect me to sign this? I expect you to protect the people who work here. He opened the blinds. Employees crossed the courtyard carrying chairs toward the ceremony lawn. If the investors walk, the lender freezes the financing. We cut staff before harvest. You created that risk. I created a future for this place. You used Silver Creek to rescue Claire. I gave a qualified consultant a chance to rebuild. You used my money. Our money. After today, Maya looked at him. So that is what the wedding is to you. A date when my property becomes easier to call yours. This is why the investors are concerned. No. They are concerned because you told them to be. Evan stood. You have spent 6 days turning every attempt to help Claire into proof that I betrayed you. Do you know what it is like to carry responsibility for someone's destroyed career? I listened to that guilt for 4 years. You listened until it required something from you. He wanted her to defend whether she had loved him well enough, not whether he had falsified her consent. Maya set the acknowledgement down. If Silver Creek vanished this morning, if there were no investors, cameras, or guests, would you still choose me? Evan stared at her. Finally, he said, I have spent 4 years building a life with you. That was not my question. You want a dramatic answer because you are turning a complicated week into a simple betrayal. Do you love her? His eyes shifted toward the courtyard. Only once. It was enough. Evan pressed the acknowledgement back into her hand. Sign by 8:30. If today collapses, that will be your decision. Not mine. He left before she could answer. At 7:12, Nora called from the parking lot. My credentials were disabled too, she said. He removed me from finance. Can you access the backups? Only the offline audit copy. Keep it offline. At 7:19, Thomas Reed replied to Maya's midnight email. Do not sign. Preserve originals. I am on my way. The next message came from Lauren. Evan told everyone you may cancel the ceremony because Claire upset you. His mother is asking the bridesmaids to keep you away from the guests until you calm down. He was preparing to contain Maya inside her own wedding. At 7:34, she found Claire in the conservatory, dressed for the investor meeting. A document lay open before her. Consultant certification regarding owner authorization. Claire's name appeared beneath a statement claiming Maya had personally delivered the signed expansion package to her 6 weeks earlier. You did not receive that from me, Maya said. Claire did not look up. I know. What did Evan say? That the lawyers need a clean chain of custody. He needs someone to blame. Claire raised her eyes. He said it was a formality. He says that whenever the truth would cost him something. Footsteps sounded in the corridor. Evan entered and stopped when he saw them together. Claire, the car is waiting. She closed the folder. Why does this say Maya gave me the signed documents? Because that is how the package moved through the project. It is not. His tone softened. We can correct details later. We need stability this morning. Claire held his gaze. Maya recognized the tactic. The patient voice. The suggestion that accuracy was selfish compared with everyone else's future. Evan turned to Maya. 8:30. Then he left. Claire looked at the certification again. If I sign this, they will say I handled the signature. Yes. And if I refuse? He will say you sabotaged the project because I turned against you. Claire's fingers rested on the blank line. The fear on her face was no longer about losing Evan. It was about understanding exactly what he was willing to make her carry. At 7:48, Claire carried the unsigned certification into the old tasting room and locked the door. Maya stood near the window while rain silvered the vines. Claire placed her phone on the table. I need to show you something, she said. Not because I expect forgiveness. She opened a thread with Evan. The messages ran back months. To Claire, he had written that his marriage to Maya was empty, that the wedding existed to reassure investors, and that Maya had agreed to step away from operations. On the same dates, Maya's phone held messages from him about vows and the life they would build together. Claire scrolled farther. After the papers are signed, she won't be able to push us out. Then another. Let her react. The board needs to see why she cannot run this place alone. Claire looked away. I knew he still wanted me. I let myself believe that meant he was choosing me. You let him humiliate me. Yes. No excuse followed. That honesty hurt differently from denial. Claire forwarded the thread to Maya, then exported the messages to an encrypted file. Maya did not thank her. Gratitude would have been too simple. Claire was helping now, but she had also watched Maya be pushed from her own place and chosen the version that benefited her. I am not saying I am innocent, she said. I am saying you never approved this. A knock sounded. Lauren entered holding her phone and a portable charger. I have the bridal suite video. Maya's eyes moved to her. The recording kept running after we came in, Lauren said. It caught Evan saying he warned us you might become unstable. It also caught him admitting he agreed to let Claire wear the dress. Why did you keep it? Lauren swallowed. Because I knew what happened was wrong. I just did not want to be the person who ended your wedding. You preferred that I become the person who endured it. Lauren lowered her head. Yes. The word did not ask Maya to comfort her. Lauren transferred the video. At 8:03, Rosa arrived with a flash drive and the pearl button wrapped in a handkerchief. The corridor cameras overwrite every 7 days, she said. I copied the last 6. The files showed Evan carrying planning folders into Claire's room, removing the garment bag from the bridal suite, and meeting an investor representative near the library after midnight. One clip showed him handing Claire the operating agreement before Maya found Appendix C. Rosa kept the pearl button. Not this yet, she said. This belongs to another truth. Nora entered through the service door with a laptop that had never connected to Silver Creek's network. The offline audit copy is clean, she said. Every transaction, login, and document version through last night. She had also found something new. At 6:12 that morning, Evan had moved the execution meeting from 10 o'clock to 9:40. The revised invitation instructed the investors to sign upon arrival before the presentation. He is trying to close before Thomas gets here, Maya said. Thomas Reed was still 40 minutes away. Nora checked the time. 32 minutes. Maya opened a new folder and organized the evidence in sequence. The written objection, the account lockout, the signature metadata, the payments to Claire's lender, the demolition plan, then the video, camera logs, and messages. Claire watched her. You are going into the meeting? Yes. Evan will say this is revenge. He has already said that. I want him to say it in front of council. Lauren looked toward the main house. Should we stop him before he starts? No. Maya closed the folder. If I confront him in the hallway, he will change the story. I need him to state the lie where it becomes part of the record. Atui says, Evan sans Maya one final message. The acknowledgement is still unsigned. I will assume your silence means consent to proceed. Maya forwarded it to Thomas. Then she replied, Silence is not cons. 3 dots appeared, then vanished. In the bridal suite, the wedding dress hung inside its garment bag. Maya passed it without opening the zipper. She removed the silk robe left for her and dressed in a dark blue suit that had belonged to her mother. The sleeves were slightly short. Rosa adjusted the cuffs with 2 safety pins. Lauren stood near the door. You should have told me to leave days ago, Claire said. Maya buttoned the jacket. You should have left without being told. Claire accepted that too. At 9:28, the first investor vehicle entered the courtyard. Evan waited at the library doors, smiling as though the day still belonged to him. He saw Maya crossing the terrace in the blue suit. His expression faltered. Behind her came Nora with the audit laptop, Rosa with the camera drive, Lauren with the bridal video, and Claire carrying the certification she had refused to sign. Evan looked from one woman to the next. This time, he had no explanation prepared. At 9:38, the library doors closed behind the investors. Rain pressed against the windows. The oak table had been cleared of wedding schedules. In their place sat 3 operating agreements, a lender packet, and silver pens beside each signature line. Evan stood at the head of the table. To his right sat Margaret Sloan, counsel for the investment group. 2 lender representatives faced her. Claire's chair had been placed beside Evan's. Maya's nameplate waited near the far end. Ceremonial founder. She left it there and took the empty chair nearest the screen. Evan began before anyone could ask why she was not dressed for the ceremony. Thank you for adjusting to the earlier time. We have a wedding to protect this afternoon, and I do not want personal tension interfering with a strong transaction. Margaret glanced toward Maya. Has every owner reviewed the final documents? Yes, Evan said. Maya approved the structure weeks ago. Maya opened her folder, but did not speak. Unfortunately, the return of our design consultant has triggered emotional strain. Maya has confused a personal issue with the expansion. I restricted her system access to prevent impulsive changes before closing. He placed the 2-page acknowledgement on the table. She declined to sign this morning, but the underlying authorization is complete. One lender representative frowned. You are relying on prior consent? Written and verbal. Evan slid forward the agreement carrying Maya's signature. He looked directly at her. "This is the behavior I warned you about. If you disrupt the meeting now, you will confirm why operational control cannot depend on your mood." The insult was calculated for witnesses. Maya let it stand. Margaret turned to her. "Miss Ellison, do you dispute your signature?" "Yes." Evan released a tired breath. "She does not dispute that we discussed the expansion. I dispute the signature, the collateral, the management transfer, and the demolition schedule." The lender representatives stopped reaching for their pens. Evan's hand flattened against the table. "There is no demolition schedule relevant to this closing." Maya connected Nora's laptop to the screen. A written objection appeared, time-stamped 8/21 that morning and sent to every address in the transaction packet. "I revoked any claimed consent before closing," Maya said. No one acknowledged it. Evan leaned back. "An objection sent during a personal episode does not erase prior authorization." Maya changed the screen. The signature metadata filled the wall. The scanned image bearing her name had been inserted at 11:52 p.m. from Evan's administrator account. The source file had not existed when he claimed she signed. Nora spoke from the side of the room. "The audit copy was created automatically. It has not touched the live network since before the suspension." Evan looked at her. "You were not authorized to remove company data. I preserved it." Margaret lifted a hand. "No one delete or alter anything from this point forward. The room belonged to procedure now, not Evan." Maya displayed the payment records. Silver Creek Funds had paid Claire's lender in Charleston. Another transfer covered design retainers unsupported by any owner approval log. Evan turned toward Claire. "Those were approved project expenses." "By whom?" Maya asked. He did not answer. The demolition map appeared next, a red line crossing the White House at the Eastern Vines. "That building was described as unused," Maya said. "It was my mother's home. Utilities were scheduled for shut-off Monday." One lender representative closed his folder. "This was not disclosed in the property summary." Evan changed tactics. Maya knew development required difficult decisions. She agreed verbally and is rewriting history because she resents Claire. Maya displayed the email he had sent at 6:41. "Escalating distress. Personal matter. Operational communications through me. You created a record that I was unstable before this meeting," she said. "You also wrote Claire that my reaction would help prove I should not run Silver Creek." She did not display the message yet. She let him deny it. "I never wrote that." Claire looked at him. Evan reached for the consultant certification. "The documents came through Claire. If there is any handling issue, she can explain the chain of custody." Claire stared at the paper he expected her to sign. "So that is what I am here for." "Claire, do not make this personal. You told me it was personal." She stood and faced the investors. "I knew Evan still had feelings for me. I stayed when I should have left. I let him humiliate Maya because he told me their marriage was already over." She drew a breath. "I wore her wedding dress. I sat in her chair. I accepted a job that should never have existed without her approval." Evan's voice sharpened. "You were manipulated by her last night." Claire took out her phone. "He told Maya he was protecting their future. He told me the wedding was only necessary to reassure you." She projected the first message. "Once the papers are signed, she won't be able to push us out." Then the second. "Let her react. The board needs to see why she cannot run this place alone." Evan stood too quickly and knocked his pen to the floor. "These are fragments. You do not know the context." Lauren stepped forward with the bridal suite video. The context started before this meeting. The screen showed Evan fastening Claire into Maya's dress. Then his voice. "She's been under pressure. I warned you this might happen." Lauren stopped the video. "I knew it was wrong. I still helped call Maya jealous because I cared more about preserving the wedding than telling her the truth." Rosa placed the camera drive beside Margaret. This shows Mr. Cole carrying the agreements into Miss Donovan's room and removing the bridal garment bag after Miss Ellison was forced out. Evan looked around the table, searching for a version of himself that still worked. This is a coordinated attack by people angry about a wedding. The library doors opened. Thomas Reed entered with a leather case. No, he said. It is a preservation event. He handed Margaret a notice challenging every transfer made without Maya's authenticated approval and requesting an immediate freeze. Margaret read the first page, then closed the agreement. There will be no signing today. Evan turned to the investors. If you walk now, Silver Creek loses the expansion, and employees may lose their jobs. Maya answered, the financing is not the vineyard's only future. It is only the future that gives you control. She placed her demands on the table. Preserve every transaction file. Audit all payments. Revoke Evan's access. Protect every employee during review. Make no alteration to the White House. Use neither Maya's name nor signature without direct verification. Evan stared at her. You are destroying everything we built. Maya removed her engagement ring and set it on the page carrying the false image of her name. No. I am separating what I built from what you tried to take. Outside, workers were still arranging chairs for a wedding scheduled at 5. Inside, Margaret instructed the lender to freeze the closing packet. Evan looked at Claire as if she might return to his side. She did not. Then he faced Maya. You will regret ending this in front of everyone. Maya closed the folder. The wedding is not ending in front of everyone. She stood. It is already over. By noon, the wedding lawn was empty. The chairs remained in their rows, but the musicians had packed their instruments and the florist had begun removing arrangements before the rain ruined them. Guests received a brief message saying the ceremony had been cancelled because of a private legal matter. Maya did not explain more. She spent the afternoon in the library with Thomas, Margaret Sloan, and the Lenders Council. Every account was frozen for review. Evan's access codes were revoked. Nora was restored to finance under temporary dual approval, and no employee could be dismissed while the audit remained open. Evan left Silver Creek through the service drive. He did not ask Maya to reconsider. He told Thomas she was emotional, told the investors Claire had misled him, and told Lauren the wedding party had turned against him. Even after the agreement collapsed, he kept searching for a version of the story in which he had been betrayed. Claire left the following morning. Before she went, she placed the consultant certification and a printed copy of every message on Maya's desk. I am sorry, she said. Maya did not tell her it was all right. It was not. You helped him make me disappear, Maya said. Telling the truth now matters. It does not erase what you did before. Claire nodded and left without asking for forgiveness. Lauren stayed longer. She helped contact guests, return gifts, and cancel reservations. None of it repaired the moment she had led Maya out of the bridal suite. Their friendship did not end with a dramatic argument. It became quieter, more careful, and less certain. 3 months later, the audit confirmed that Evan had used Maya's scanned signature without authorization, routed Silver Creek money into Claire's debt, and concealed the management transfer inside vendor files. The lender withdrew. The investment group ended all negotiations with him. The legal investigation continued. There was no immediate arrest, no public scene, and no satisfying photograph of Evan being led away. Maya learned that justice often arrived as preserved records, frozen accounts, and doors that no longer opened when the wrong person entered a code. Silver Creek survived, though not without cost. The expansion stopped. 2 events were postponed. Maya sold a parcel of unused land to stabilize payroll. She created a 3-signature rule for every major transfer and gave Nora permanent authority to block transactions that lacked direct owner approval. The White House remained beside the eastern vines. One autumn afternoon, Maya stood in its upstairs room with the wedding dress spread across a cedar chest. She had once imagined saving it for another ceremony. Instead, she removed the pearl buttons one by one. Rosa sat beside her, threading them around an old photograph of Maya's mother. In the picture, she stood between the vines with dirt on her knees and pruning shears in one hand. When the frame was finished, one space remained empty. Rosa unfolded a handkerchief. Inside was the button that had rolled across the bridal suite floor. Your mother sewed every one herself, Rosa said. Maya held it for a moment, then closed her fingers around it. She kept that button in the top drawer of her desk. Months later, a young bride came to Silver Creek to plan a small spring wedding. She noticed the framed photograph behind Maya and asked about the missing pearl. Maya smiled but did not answer. As they walked outside, the bride looked toward the White House. Were you afraid when you canceled your wedding? Maya could hear workers laughing near the cellar and Nora arguing cheerfully with a supplier on the phone. Beyond them, the house still stood beneath the maples. She touched the pearl button in her pocket. Yes, she said. Then she looked back at the vineyard that still carried her family's name. But I was more afraid of disappearing inside it.